Hi everyone, it's Kristen. So I just watched episode 3 of Agatha All Along, hence the Scarlet Witch shirt that I'm wearing. And I think the big buzz around this episode is that they mentioned Mephisto. For those of you that don't know, just give you a quick overview. And I'll try to make it quick. I actually did this video like a year ago. So it's on my channel if you want to look for it, Doctor Strange 75. And I pulled it out so you could just see what he looks like. And basically, he is Marvel's equivalent to the devil, like in his realm, hell. Um, and I think the thing, of course, he was in the Ghost Rider movies with Nicolas Cage, but because Mephisto is responsible for Ghost Rider, like he's who he made the pact with to gain those abilities. But I think the reason they tied it into uh, Agatha all along is because she's tied into Scarlet Witch, and Scarlet Witch actually used two pieces of Mephisto's soul, kind of unknowingly, to create her children. Because of course she is married to Vision, who's an android, who's technically like not human, so no way they could conceive kids. But so she used two pieces of his soul to basically manifest them, so to speak. And of course her kids got reabsorbed into Mephisto eventually, and Agatha Harkness, like we talked about, wiped her memory of the whole thing because they weren't real. They weren't really there. Um, or they weren't, real children. Anyway, so I think that's why they tied, you know, mostly why they tied him to this series. Pretty much any power you can think of, he has them. Another notable thing that he's known for is he imprisons Doom's mom's soul in hell so that she couldn't go to heaven. And so Doctor Doom and Doctor Strange went down there and rescued her soul. And Hawkeye also went down there to rescue his wife, Mockingbird's soul. And another thing, I think maybe the most famous thing he's responsible for is I'm sorry, I'm shaking my head because not very many people like this story at all. The Spider-Man One More Day, when he basically broke up Spider-Man and Mary Jane's marriage, as in they're not married anymore. And yeah, he did that supposedly because their daughter, Spider-Girl, Mayday Parker, would be his undoing in the future. So he wanted to, break them up. So in order to save Aunt May, who got struck by a bullet, he said, I'll save her if guys aren't married and you have no knowledge of being married or anything like that. So, I mean, a lot of people thought it was a dumb story. I agree, but, what are you going to do? Oh, yeah. See, this is one of my favorite Barbies from, the issue where they got married. It was such a fun issue. I feel like Marvel, hates couples almost because, Black Panther got married and now they're divorced. Reed and Sue have been together so long, but they're not without issues. Cyclops and Jean, all kinds of issues there. I mean, we've talked about that on my channel before in different storylines. Anyway, I just feel like Marvel doesn't like couples, or they just want to add more drama. Like X-Men 97, they did the whole love triangle with Gambit and Magneto and Rogue, which I was not a fan of. Not gonna lie, not a fan. Um, especially since they, you know, basically in the comic books, okay, I won't go off on that tangent because otherwise this video will last like 20 minutes. But anyway, I'm pretty sure I've talked about that before. Not a fan, and talked about how it was in the comic books. Basically, Rogue met Magneto when she was powerless in the Savage Land before she even met Gambit. they had a relationship, but at that point, she was an adult, because I believe she joined the X-Men at like 17, 18. And of course, this was in like issue 269 when she got back from the Siege Perilous. And anyway, in the cartoon, the timeline's a little questionable. So, when they got together before she joined the X-Men. So anyway, that's a video for another day. Or maybe I already talked about that. I don't know. Anyway, so Mephisto, that's what we're talking about. So he also has a son, Blackheart, which I honestly don't really know that much about him. I had to look it up. He was in like Daredevil 270, 1989, his first appearance. Mostly, a lot of people know him from Marvel versus Capcom, and I actually got this recently, and he is the Build-A-Figure of this wave. So that's what he looks like. And he has basically similar powers to Mephisto. And yeah, I might do a whole video about this because I have her origin story and everything too. So I'll probably do a video about that and unboxing at some point. Um, anyway, and I've seen rumors that they think Aubrey Plaza is Blackheart, because she mentioned she has a black heart, and they just kind of like gender swapped. I don't know if I agree with that. I mean, I don't know. And then there's rumors that she is actually Polaris, like Magneto's daughter, because I think they threw that in there because Polaris, her powers are green. Aubrey's the Green Witch. Yeah, kind of out there. I mean, maybe because of the Scarlet Witch connection, because Scarlet Witch and Quicksilver, of course, are Magneto's kids, or depending on what time, you're looking at, they've, retooled it so where they're not his kids, whatever. Anyway, because, Polaris is now Magneto's daughter. Just a mess. Like, I hate when they go back and, like, totally change stuff. Like, they say, oh no, this is not true. This is not what happened. Like, I hate it when they mess with established stories, like established history. But I guess they're trying to make it interesting. They're trying to switch it up. They're trying to make it align more with the MCU. So, anyway, okay, the show. I was looking when I started the show to make sure they didn't have shoes, and they didn't. Um, because I thought it was weird that they all left their shoes at the beginning. We didn't get a whole lot of questions answered in this show, which I guess I kind of didn't expect to, but I was hoping we'd get like a little bit more. But I now see how they're going to structure the show. Each episode is going to be one of the trials. It was interesting how the house, transformed them, gave them shoes, and I think that was on purpose because Jen, when she was making the antidote potion, um, she said we have to have a piece of hair from everyone. And when she got to the house, before she got to the house, she didn't have any hair. So I feel like they did, that was kind of one of the things that they did to, make that make sense. I don't know. I mean, did anyone else see that? Did they get a hair from Sharon? I mean, or does it not matter because she's not a witch that they didn't get, or did I just totally like miss that part where they did? And I mean, I was sad that like Sharon, Mrs. Hart died. I didn't expect that. Or maybe we'll learn in the next episode she's not really dead. She just appears dead. Like, I don't know. I mean, at this point, when they were seeing visions of things that they were scared of, I feel like, of course, Jen and the witch that sees the future, I'm blanking on her name. I feel like those were visions from their past, things that happened to them, for sure. I don't know what Agatha is all about, the whole being underwater sort of thing. It reminds me of this scene in Ghost Whisperer. I don't know if you guys have ever seen that show with Jennifer Love Hewitt, and there's this one ghost that dies like on a cruise ship. I think it's a cruise ship, and these ghostly apparitions appear to Jennifer, and it's all of the house being underwater and the glass breaking or starting to break. That's what it made me think of. I don't. You guys probably don't know what I'm talking about. You guys probably haven't seen that show. But anyway, um, let's see what else. They did mention Joe. Well, that's what they're calling him on, the cast list. That he, has a sigil on him, like a spell that prevents witch folk from hearing his name. So that means, to me, Sharon would know his name if he said his name. And I wonder if, because of course, I don't think Sharon was with them when they asked him again. And I wonder if Sharon would be allowed to say his name or who he is if she heard that. I wonder if that's why they killed her. Because I think at that moment she had wandered off the path and was in quicksand, which it's funny because you see those memes where they're like, I thought when growing up, I thought quicksand would be a much bigger deal because like Batman 66, Catwoman or Batgirl is stuck in quicksand, or the Never-Ending Story, that really, really sad, scene. And then The Princess Bride, I believe they had a quicksand scene also. I mean, I don't know. It's funny how big of a deal quicksand was then, but it's now really not a big deal. So I guess one of the things I noticed is, well, they kind of hinted at the fact that Joe could be Agatha's son, because Jen said, I doubt she would even recognize him if he showed up at her door. I wonder if that's the direction they're going. And of course, we saw Agatha seeing the Darkhold in the crib, and because of course she's always desired it, which it just, like, I talked about this in the first video I did of how she actually sometimes helps people, like helps Scarlet Witch, helps train her and stuff, and then all of a sudden she like desires the Darkhold and turns evil. So I don't know. I mean, I guess the Darkhold is one of those things that corrupts you, like corrupts absolutely. Like absolute power corrupts absolutely, that saying. So I'm definitely interested to see where this goes. I want to, I'm interested to see the next trial. Yeah, I'm enjoying this show so far. So what did you guys think? Is there anything that you picked up on that I didn't? What do you think is going to happen next? Like, yeah, I mean, it's interesting. It really is. I'm enjoying it so far. I'm intrigued. So I will see you next week for the next recap episode, background information episode. And I hope you join me for other videos on my channel and subscribe, and that way you won't ever miss any. So until then, bye.